All right. Gonna send this tweet out. Ooh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh,
Oh,
buddy. Woo, man.
wow.
Wow.
Oh, man. All right, good show, y'all. See you.
Sheesh. Barbecue chicken.
That was something.
Hibachi chicken. Twice fried chicken.
Tandoori chicken.
Korean fried?
Teriyaki chicken.
Nashville hot? Or is it
Nashville hot
Nashville?
chicken. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chicken masala?
Chicken
Sure.
masala. Yeah. Chicken shawarma.
Ooh, love me some shawarmas.
Wow, you're stealing my people's stuff, huh? Chicken kebab.
Oh, yeah. 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 Well done.
Salmonella.
Salmonella.
Salmonella. I think that caps it there.
It felt like
Glenn Taylor.
Oh,
Wait, did that go too far? Woo, sorry.
Does anybody miss the protesters? I kind of missed the protesters.
Actually, yeah, I do a little bit.
They were creative.
Just get somebody in there, you know? Protest something.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm not protesting. Watching Chris Paul and Devin Booker slice and dice the Dallas Mavericks in that fourth quarter, that was masterclass. That was a clinic. What else can we say? Like, how many words can we describe what they just did to the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic?
Not what they just did, what he just did, because that was a masterpiece. He painted a masterpiece.
I mean, they both had 20 in the second half, right?
I think so.
Booker ran off 3 straight threes. Like,
yeah, no, but it was over at that point, right? Like, it felt like
like it was.
The dude was dead. Let me just put it this way. It was a 6-point game. It was 99-93. CP assists on the lob to Bridges. Then he scores, I think, the next 3 straight.
That foul he drew on Brunson was
that was
so
my
bad.
God. Yeah, that was garbage.
So bad.
That was garbage.
Oh my
that
God.
was garbage. That I can understand annoys everybody.
I think Sam Esfandiari said like people.
Yeah.
I think Sam Esfandiari said something like 18,000 people rooting for a speeding ticket or something like that, which is exactly what it was.
Yeah,
perfect.
But he does all that going after Luka over and over and over again. The Mavs finally said, "Screw it, we're going to double team Chris Paul. We're going to get out of his hands." The Suns just swing the ball around, and then they get a dunk to Bismack Biyombo. It's just like CP went 6 of 7 in the fourth quarter alone.
Oh, I got some stats, guys. Tom, I don't want to steal your thunder. And I have some stats. I'm taking these from Will Guillory of The Athletic, who has put it in our live blog on The Athletic. Chris Paul's fourth quarter numbers in this year's playoffs: 8 games, 82 points, which is number 1, 20-5 assist to turnover ratio, 63.8% from the field, 37.5% from 3, 94.1% from the free throw line.
Good Lord.
Only 90. What was it, 4%?
Doing the conference finals, but yeah, pretty good so far.
I mean, those are the types of numbers that Stugotz is going to dismiss
completely.
Yes,
even if he does it in the finals, do it next year.
Yeah, do it next year. Doesn't matter.
Do it against someone other than Luka Doncic. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? Like, and obviously this is gonna be very obvious, but that's the difference between having a Luka and having Chris Paul and Devin Booker, is that you can have Chris Paul and Devin Booker each making plays in that run in the fourth quarter. And not that Dallas doesn't have anybody, but Dallas, they're kind of being allowed to let Luka cook a little bit. Phoenix is very comfortable with Luka scoring as long as he's not also playmaking. We saw some playmaking in that first half, and then everything from there, it's like he'll swing, and then it's boom, swing, swing, swing. But as long as the Suns are scrambling and recovering, other than that one JaVale tackle of Maxi Kleber, like for the most part, their rotations were really crisp. And so even when the Mavericks were knocking down shots, everything was contested. Whereas, as you see in that run, when Chris Paul is just dissecting everybody, it felt like they were just 3 steps ahead of everything that a good Mavericks defense was trying to do.
All right, that's real quick. That's Zach Harper from Cinephobe. What's Cinephobe, Zach?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked that, Tom. It's a podcast that I do with Amin Al-Hassan and Anthony Mays, which we watch movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes, and we try to ascertain if they're properly poorly rated, or maybe they didn't get a fair shake. That's Cinephobe. It's produced by Anthony Mays. It's part of the Meadowlark Media Le Batard and Friends network, and wherever you get podcasts. This week, new release day. We used to come out on Wednesdays. Now we come out on Thursdays. So Thursday, Dude, Where's My Car? Kicking off, or should I say, jump-starting Vehicle Month.
Nice.
Well done.
Also
very proud
from
of that
the
jump-starting one.
Sirius XM NBA Radio and a friend of the program. You did a great job on the show this week. And also, if you haven't listened to the Rocky IV remix, go check that out. Doing huge numbers. People are loving the show.
I don't have an air horn, but I have a duster, so do one of those.
You're dusting? You're
it's just for the computer. Well, I mean, I dust. I dust. I like to keep the place clean, but this is just for the computer. You know, you just get a little stuff.
You don't clean your keyboard? Like, what does your keyboard look like, Tom? Is it just crust of like?
Yeah.
You don't clean
your
keyboard?
Disgusting. It's disgusting. I actually work outside a lot, and just stuff falling from the trees is in my keyboard. It's going to have a shelf life of maybe 2 months, this keyboard.
Okay. That was kind of a flex, though, huh? I get to sit out in nature and work and do all that stuff, and I'm slaving away in my little video room.
Speaking of video room, that's Mo DeGill.
Good transition.
He used to be in the video room for Greg Popovich, Doc Rivers, and now Twitter's video room. He is the guy that you see on Twitter just clipping plays, just filling your feed with insights, X's and O's, just giving you so much intel because he was on the bench for a lot of these great coaches, including Brett Brown. Did I say great coach Brett Brown? He was on the bench for Brett Brown.
Olympic coach Brett Brown. Yeah.
Olympic coach, and he was great for the Australian national team. But
that's right. That's right.
I think, Steve Jones is the best at that on Twitter, but second best is Mo. Mo does a great job, so definitely give Mo a follow. Also, Mo, I thought about this tonight during the game. Doc Rivers didn't believe in you because he fired you like pretty quickly, right? But he believes in DeAndre Jordan. It just clicked for me that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, listen, he chose. It was DeAndre or me. And we can just see how it's turned out for him.
They have a salary cap on coaches too, Zach. They can't fit Mo there with DeAndre Jordan's contract. Come on.
It was that simple, though. Like, he clearly made the wrong choice. And he went the wrong way. And listen, I was the key to bring the Clippers to a championship. I left. Next year, they blew a 3-1 lead. I had the answers.
Well, that wasn't his fault.
I would have stopped that game 6.
Yeah.
No, it was his fault because he fired me.
I asked him, and
he said Chris Paul was out for the first 2 games, and that's why they blew a 3-1 lead, which figure out the logic there. But also he should have said, hey, we didn't have Mo for those 7 games.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's the reason.
I'm so jealous right now. For those who are listening to this, Zach's hair is on fire right now.
Just picture Jimmy Neutron, but in human form.
That's right. Chris Paul, 20 points in the second half, 9 of 10 shooting, 1 for 1 from downtown. He had 1 turnover and 5 assists. 20 points, 5 assists on 9 of 10 shooting in the second half alone. Devin Booker, 21 points, 2 assists, 5 of 7 from downtown. I mean, just barbecue chicken. And these two are unbelievable. And Jalen Brunson, not Jalen Brown, other series, also incredible showing, but Jalen Brunson in this game, not incredible at all. I don't know if it's the most perfect Knicks thing that they showed up to those Utah games when Jalen Brunson was just going off. And then they were like, yep, all right, we signed the contract. We're good. Because Jalen Brunson he hasn't been able to be that effective second guy.
That's my question, though, right? He made so much money in that Utah series. How much of that is he giving back with some of these games?
The Knicks.
No, I mean, we know the Knicks, but
the Knicks just gave $70+ million to Evan Fournier.
Yeah.
That's fair.
He's not good. He's never contributed to winning basketball. And they gave it to him. Jalen Brunson at least
points.
knocked out Rudy Gobert. Like it's pretty obvious.
That's fair. Still feel like he's costing himself a little bit of money. You got to have some sort of pause. Even the Knicks have to have some sort of pause there. Looking at him going like, oh, okay, 3 for 12. It's one thing to do it against Utah, who doesn't play any defense, to now have to do it against a team that has all of the defense. Just a massive struggle from there.
They sent Worldwide West, Allen Houston, and Julius Randle just courtside just to watch Jalen Brunson play in the playoffs. And then they were like, yep, we're good. All right. Signed, sealed, and delivered. So,
but also massive upgrade when they do sign him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's talent. Like, they need talent.
Yes. But also, if you're signing Jalen Brunson to be the number one creator on your team, the ceiling can only be so high. And I kind of want to see Jalen Brunson be able to give that lever for Luka, that he doesn't have to create everything offensively, but part of that is just Luka is Luka, right? Like, is Jalen Brunson going to take the ball from Luka and initiate the offense? No. So
but that's what they did during the regular season, right? Like they worked Luka off the ball to bring him back onto it. From that, they're able to kind of get some other things going. And now in the playoffs, they've just not the playoffs. This series in particular, just completely abandoned it. And like, hey, we're just going to have Luka try to hunt matchups and hopefully it'll work out and we'll get enough. But what they're not accounting for.
He's got 80 points in the first 2 games.
No, for sure. And they're getting their asses kicked every time because he's got to spread it around. And it's like, every time he's looking and he has an opportunity, Bridges is at the elbow, Crowder's at the other elbow. Like they're just waiting for him.
So let's talk about this other thing that's happening.
They're waiting for him, and he's still cooking.
No, he can score for sure, but they're not going to win games this way. They got to get the other guys going and other guys involved.
Other players? They got to get other players. I don't think they can win with Luka Doncic having 85 points, not because it's Luka's fault, but because they don't have other guys that can be the Chris Paul, be the Devin Booker for that.
Right, like,
and not many teams do.
I don't understand what they're supposed to do right now. Like they're going against the best team in basketball, who's the best team since like late November. Whenever Steph started hunting the Ray Allen record, that's when the Suns became the best team in basketball. They've held on to it since then. They've gone through all these changes of guy out, guy back in, guy out, guy back in. And as you see, they're able to, like, DeAndre Ayton gets in foul trouble and they just bring in JaVale. And JaVale's no longer like the laughingstock. He's like the seasoned championship backup center who comes in and you don't miss it. He dropped a dime tonight from like
he did.
18 feet out, a bounce pass to a cutter on the baseline. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Like they really can't do any wrong right now. We'll see if they face the Warriors, how that looks. But at least, like in this matchup, Dallas can play really well and they still end up losing.
I mean, the odds of them winning this series at any point was really kind of low, I thought, right? Like, I thought maybe you can get a game. I thought, Luka can get you a game, but now I'm not even convinced of that.
I still think they can.
Going to Dallas.
Yeah.
Series hasn't started yet.
Doesn't start.
By the way,
playoffs haven't started for them yet.
We give a shout out to Cinephobe. Let's give a shout out to Basketball Illuminati this week. Yes. We had Bob Voulgaris on the show.
Speaking of Mavericks,
talked about how his interactions with Rick Carlisle. Luka Doncic says, why can't he be top 3 all time? Or at least top 3 of this modern era. I should say that. I don't want to misquote Bob Voulgaris because he is a very powerful man and worth quite a bit of money. I love part of the show when he goes, yeah, I want to buy a team. And you know what? I'm not going to buy an entire team because I'm not quite at $1 billion net worth. And so I might have to go in with someone else. And I just said, I want to be at a place in my life when I can say I'm not quite $1 billion. Not quite there yet.
I mean, depending on taxes, we make roughly the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Just depending on taxes. Yeah.
Sure.
On that podcast, he said, go listen to Basketball Illuminati, where you ever listen to podcasts. And Amin Al-Hassan was on that one instead of this one. He is not walking through that door tonight. But on the podcast, Bob Voulgaris said that the ideal running mate, tandem player for Luka Doncic was Drew Holiday.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about that. And after watching this game, how much, Mo, would a Drew Holiday help what they were doing to hunting Luka and asking him to basically do everything offensively. What does a Drew Holiday do for Luka Doncic tonight?
Well, one, I mean, just on the defensive end, he will fight through screens and avoid just conceding switches easily, which is something that the Mavs were doing, and putting Luka in tough situations where he's got to guard Chris Paul. And again, he just raises your level defensively. And even if he does switch, he's going to cheat over. He's going to time when he's going to come over and help out on the double team and things like that. He does a phenomenal job of just reading the play defensively. And he's just a tough dude. And then offensively, he's more potent than Jalen Brunson, right? He can just do more. He can create the offense on his own. He's going to get in the lane. You could throw him in the post. He's going to just be able to do like 50% more than Brunson. And just literally, Luka could just hand him the ball and say, I'm going to go sit in the corner for a little bit. You got this.
Yeah, I think you look at what Marcus Smart means for Boston. Drew's better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Drew is that guy, and he's better at it. I would say on both ends of the floor. I know Marcus just won Defensive Player of the Year. Like ask any NBA player, like, hey, who do you hate going against? It doesn't matter the position. They're like, yo, Drew's a motherfucker. Like, it's just Drew is that good. And I think as a running mate, we've seen, you know, it wasn't quite good enough for Anthony Davis. Also, that Pelicans team, like, maybe not that good, but you put him in that environment in Milwaukee, and sure, it's easier when he's third on the pecking order, right? Because you have Middleton and you have Giannis, but like Drew is as good as any third option in the NBA by far. Probably is a number two, and especially in that setup, he doesn't, like most said, he doesn't need the ball. He can dominate the ball if you need him to. And then defensively, you add him to what they like to do defensively. If they could get a semi-competent, like pick and roll defensive big man, no offense to Dwight Powell, but if they can get, you know, someone like that who, like, this is probably too extreme.
Dwight Powell. He deserves that. Offend him. No, he deserves that. He should be better at it.
He's fine. He's fine. Like he's a good enough player,
fine.
Right? But like if they had like this is probably too extreme, but like a Clint Capella type in the mix as well, I mean that's championship worthy.
I mean, that's who they've been running after, right? Like before he got traded to Atlanta and before he signed with Houston Rockets, they wanted Capella, right? And that's why we're seeing the stuff with the rumors of, you know, they're going to look at Rudy Gobert in the offseason and things like that. Like that's something that they're looking for and have been looking for for a while. And I just don't think that it's hard to find them sometimes, man. Like it's a bit challenging.
Mo, how do you keep from Luka getting just scorched defensively when they're hunting for those matchups with the personnel that Dallas has? Is there anything you can do to prevent that from happening?
The first thing that I don't like that they're doing is that they are spreading the floor by trying to pick up full court. Look, that worked for New Orleans, right? And trying to tire out CP and stuff like that. A lot of that had to do with Jose Alvarado, who was annoying as all hell, right? And driving CP nuts. You're not getting that. Reggie Bullock is not going to provide the same kind of intensity full court that Alvarado does. So now when whoever Luka's guarding sets the screen to free CP at half court, that's a whole lot of space there, and that opens up the opportunity. So I think they got to get back to getting just, hey, let's just pick up at half court and have a normal pickup points for this game. And then from there, you got to trap the screens. You got to fight over the tops. You got to just have Luka show and recover. You can't just have him switch. It's going to take some fight on the other end, but you got to do something. You just can't keep conceding these switches so easily. And make them work. All right, you don't get to switch the first time. You know they're going to set the screen again. That's fine, but that eats into the shot clock, gives you more opportunities.
You know, I actually think in a weird way, helping Luka not be hunted for an entire half like he did tonight is have another score that he doesn't get completely exhausted after halftime, right? Like that would help, is that he didn't have to create everything in that first half. In the first quarter, he scored or assisted 24 of the team's 28 points. And that was the big question, is how much does he have left in the tank? And the Suns found out the answer to that. It was running on empty.
Well, and I think, don't you see like the benefits of having a play caller defensively, right? And this is going to be, you know, the best example of that. But what Golden State has with Draymond Green, he's constantly moving guys, telling them to switch this before they're even in the action on the ball. He's constantly moving pieces around out there, and Dallas doesn't really have that, right? Dallas has a good defense, and a lot of that comes from the sideline. If you had a guy who was a signal caller back there on the court, he could, as Luka is, in the front court and they're bringing the ball up, instead of his man running out and him just following to go set that screen to now you've got the switch immediately, it could be like, no, go over here, go to the corner. No, go here. Like, you can move guys around in real time without compromising your defense. And they just don't have that. And like, no one on that, like maybe Dorian Finney-Smith could kind of be that. But even then, he's got so much on ball attention, if it's Bridges or Booker or Chris Paul, that he can't get caught up in all that. You take your eye off those guys for a second, they're gone.
And that's the problem too. Like the scram switch and the pre-switch you're talking about, it's got to be
this
so organized. You got to be so organized. And if you do it just a step too early, Chris is going to kill you with that, right? He's going to make the right pass. That's kind of what makes Boston so damn good at it. But it's such a high level of like execution and precision that goes with it. Because if you're off by a step, you're screwed.
And they also have a bunch of guys calling it out. They have Robert Williams that they're calling out. They have Al Horford. They have Marcus Smart. Hell, even Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum will call that stuff out. So they have 5 guys talking, 5 guys organizing that, not only physically but audibly. Whereas Dallas, like, it's just kind of, well, I guess we're going to pre-switch this because this is what we do, and you're just giving Chris Paul every weapon he needs, just saying, take whatever you want, use whatever you want here.
It's crazy to watch Chris Paul just carve up the Dallas defense, because it's like he is not operating super fast, and that's his MO. Is just he is all about tempo, pump fakes, and just getting you off balance just enough that he's going to take advantage and get to the shot. Like some of the shots he was hitting, the net did not move. It's just so pure. It's so pure, and I almost felt like it was like the Spider-Man meme where, like, Luka, when he was doing it offensively, Chris Paul was like, you know what, I can do that too. And they're just going back and forth. Who can keep the defense off guard and just carving them up by not going 100 miles an hour? It's, for someone who's watching basketball and doesn't understand deceleration and tempo and pump fakes and just keeping that speed at the way that Chris Paul wants, you might be like, how are they not guarding him well? Like, why is Luka so good there? Like that play against Cam Johnson, he pump faked him like 3 times. The footwork was crazy, but he wasn't moving all that fast. Mo, it's like, I don't know if there's anyone better than Chris Paul and Luka at doing what they do offensively, and we're seeing it in the same game.
Yeah, I mean, they're both. We're talking about like the 1%, right? When it comes to that on the offensive end, like when you talk about that play where Luka basically posted up Cam Johnson, spins baseline, thinking Cam Johnson was going to be there. He's faking the spin to the baseline and then goes to the fadeaway, and Cam Johnson still jumps the wrong way and looks like, oh, no, wait, I was open the first time. Let me just go back to that for the step through. It's like, that's just unreal in that sense of like Cam Johnson was wrong twice and not even really realizing it, just in where he was guessing Luka was going. And it's just, it's another level with that. And then when you look at what Chris Paul's been, this is what Chris has done all his life, right? Like all his career really is he comes through fourth quarter. We know he has those games where he's choked and things like that. But for the most part, he comes through, he just looks at it, he slows everything down, he gets everybody in the right position, and then he just picks you apart. He's like a death by 1,000 cuts, right? Like it's just very simple. Like he's going to slowly and surgically kind of keep coming at you. Cross back, boom, mid-range jumper. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to get in the lane, floater every time. And he's just calculating with everything he does. You can see it kind of just working through his mind as he goes through it all.
Yeah, he's just the most patient poker player, right? He's just waiting to see whatever tell you have, and then he exploits it, and you lose all your money. Or he's Greg Maddux on the mound. Like you said, Tom, like he's not particularly fast or anything, but he has such control over everything he does that it reminded me of there was this story, I think in Sports Illustrated, like in the mid 90s, where they were talking about Greg Maddux and he threw a pitch to Gary Sheffield in the middle of the season that Gary hit to the warning track. And so now Gary thinks that, hey, I can hit this home run. Like this is a pitch. I know I'm going to see it again. If he throws it, I know I can hit it out of the park. And Greg Maddux threw it because he said, now Gary thinks he can hit that out of the park. And he's going to miss it. He's going to mess it up every single time. And that's Chris Paul. Like, it's just, he has such control over everything that he wants. It, like, he had a turnover in the fourth quarter. I think the fourth quarter, sometime in the second half, where he tried to feed it inside and he just screwed up the pass. Yeah, to Bismack. And that's probably just Bismack got there in January Bismack. Kind of thing.
That's exactly.
Yeah, and Bismack doesn't has the greatest hands in the first place. But the pass was also a little off. And maybe that's because Bismack was in the right place. But seeing that, I was like, the hell just happened? How did Chris Paul mess that up? And like it was so bewildering. Like I didn't understand what happened in that moment.
It's kind of a funny story, but I was playing when I was with the Clippers and guys are coming back from injury. You have to play the 3-on-3, 4-on-4 stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and this is also kind of a problem for the Clippers. I was the 8th person in all of that. So like I got a lot of great stories of just me playing basketball with dudes that do not belong on the court. I could do an hour on that alone of just like, well, this guy kicked my ass and then this guy kicked my ass.
Wait, who's on your team? Give me some names here.
So it was me. We had Roni Turioff.
Yeah.
And we had our strength coach.
Smelliest guy in the NBA. Yep, Roni Turioff.
Our strength coach, and then we had the other video guy, right? So it was just the 4 of us, and we're just trying to get Chris Paul's coming back from injury. We're trying to just get Chris some minutes there. It's Chris and Grant Hill, and I'll be honest, I don't remember who the other 2 are. Chris is coming off of a screen, and he is literally trapped. Like there is no way he can get this ball out at all. And then he makes a pass, which still to this day, I have no idea how it happened. But all I know is it looks like Chris has the ball. And next thing you know, it's in Grant Hill's hands. And Grant's at the 3 and Grant stops. And like Chris is yelling at him, shoot it. And he's just like, oh, wait, what? Okay. And then he goes, and like we all just stopped. And like, we're like, what the hell just happened? Like we still talk about this to the day. Me and the strength coach every now and then will be like, you remember that pass? What the fuck? Like, that's just our answer. Like, we just don't know. Like, it just happened. But that's Chris. He just finds a way to manipulate all of this.
It was incredible to watch. I mean, I think he's turning 37 next week. In a couple of days here. And
turn into a champion in the playoffs. How about that? Turn into that.
There you go.
Turn into an NBA finalist.
Zach Gotts. Sorry, that was really bad.
Well, he's not going to win a championship if Scott Foster is going to be reffing those finals games. I mean, Scott Foster is going to be doing that because he's a finals ref. The NBA loves putting Scott Foster on big games. And Danny, we got to watch this.
Please don't. Please don't play it.
Who's Jack Harlow? Who's Jack Harlow? I have no idea. There's a guy over here, right?
Scott Foster, let me help you out. Jack Harlow, one of the top rappers in the game right now.
It's so bad.
I don't even want to do the show anymore.
That is so uncomfortable.
So cringe.
How many takes do you think that took? Because he's like barely hanging on to lyrics there. I'm sure he rehearsed whatever he could, but there's no way that's the first take.
It's
like
like
Scott Todarski in the back, just like nodding awkwardly in the back seat, and it's just like, oh, and then Scott Foster's dapping up dudes and not doing it very well. It's awkward, and the time it's not synced to the music, and it just is super cringe. It's got 1 million views on Twitter, so I think it did well. But does the NBA really want Scott Foster to be like a household name? They're really pushing this.
This is just so wrong.
I don't know if Kemp Chalmers is asking about us or the refs.
I'm 100% sure it's us.
Questions. I cannot. Why was he dabbing? It's great. It's a great question, Z. Why was he dabbing?
Why was any of this?
Is that part of the Jack Harlow music video? I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever heard a Jack Harlow song or listened.
We lose Tom there. I think we lost Tom there.
We lose Tom.
Scott Foster.
It's our show now. It's our show now.
I'll admit, like as a 40-year-old old man, I don't understand the Jack Harlow thing. I understand the Scott Foster referee video even less. Even less. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. I also think like terrible time to be highlighting Scott Foster. Terrible time. Would you?
No, it's just a dumb idea right now. We know this, the record with him, with everything and everything that's going along with it. Like, this isn't the guy you want to highlight. This is literally one of the most hated refs in the NBA. It's talked about every time.
And I want to here, since we got the wheel right now.
This is not going to be going off the rails at all.
These reviews have to slow down. They have to stop. Someone falls down, they review it. Someone gets a little bit of contact to the head, they review it. Like, the reviews are making these games unwatchable at times, and you and I will watch just about any shitty NBA experience there is. And like, I know this has been talked about before. Get rid of the reviews. I would just rather live with human error at this point, because it's ruining the product of the game.
It's ridiculous. Like, just go back to that Boston-Milwaukee game. They had to stop and review a play when Al Horford pump faked. Bobby Portis goes up in the air straight up. Horford sticks his ass out into Bobby Portis, which is not a foul. I'm not saying anything, but like, Portis is going to force Portis to come down. He hits him in the head. Okay, cool. We got to go spend 5 minutes and review that. And it was a flagrant foul. They ended up calling that a flagrant foul. It's like, yo, this is ridiculous. We're getting way out of hand with this stuff. It was fun in the bubble with the referees and looking in the camera and telling us what's going on. Had to do it
and everything.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's gone to their head. It's going way over the top now. This is ridiculous. I'm with you. Ban the reviews, ban the challenges. Like, just, we got to live with the fact there's going to be human error, because they're still doing some of these reviews and getting it wrong.
They're still screwing up the review. Yeah, the one with DeAndre Ayton tonight, he's what was a transition play? He has the ball. He goes up against, I think, Dwight Powell, and his elbow hits him. Ayton's elbow hits him as he's making a basketball move. He didn't swing his arms wildly. He didn't like go after him. There's no way, one, that should be reviewed, or two, that's a flagrant one. They review it because the elbow made contact with the head. They're like, well, that's got to be a flagrant one because of what we've now said is the precedent. And it's stupid. Like, that's a basketball play that he happened to make contact with. Call an offensive foul if you want. I still don't even think that's the correct call.
Right.
Like, you're entitled to make your move. This guy's entitled to his space, and he invaded Ayton's space. But that review, one, was unnecessary, and two, they got it wrong. That shouldn't be a flagrant.
I mean, just think about it this way. Like, if anything, every contact to the head is going to now just be automatically a flagrant foul. Shaq would have never been able to play in this league.
Oh my God.
Like, it would have been a disaster, right? Like, just him just turning into guys would have gotten him kicked out consistently. There would be no Shaq. That's it. It would be the end of it. And it's slowing the game down. It's really ridiculous with everything that we're running through. Please get rid of that. And then while we're at it, can we get rid of the take foul?
Yeah. Get rid of the take foul, get rid of the reviews, get rid of, not flagrants, because I guess you got to keep flagrants around because of what happened. Make it
tougher to get a flagrant. Make it tougher to get a flagrant, please.
Like that. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it should, like, a flagrant should mean something at this point. And I feel like it's just the referees keeping this, to where, like, well, we're not sure we can keep this in control, even though guys don't fight anymore. So it's like their way of policing it in a way that is completely disingenuous. And instead of fixing that, I got to watch the most awkward lip sync battle of Scott Foster versus just Father Time there. And it's horrible. It's horrible.
It's such a bad deal. But
do you want to see Chris Paul win a Scott Foster game at this point? Because I kind of don't.
No, we just need this to be the run. I do. This is what I want the scenario to be, though. I want it to be Game 7 of the finals, and I want it to be won on a Scott Foster call for Chris Paul, though, because now Chris has to live with that for a while, because that's his most hated enemy. That is his most hated guy, and he's got to live with the fact that I won the championship because Scott Foster made this call, and we know Stugotz is going to be talking constantly of like, ring doesn't count.
Yeah, well, Stu's not going to give it to him if Scott Foster gives him the call. We know that. Like, he's not going to give it to him. No, I think he has to lose all these games. I don't think there should be this. Now, this isn't a Disney movie, right? This isn't some like horrible, like, and at the end we became friends shit. Like, no, that's not necessary. I'm curious, like, when the next time the Suns will have Scott Foster refereeing a game here, because if you are going to have Dallas get a game, Maybe you send Scott Foster to Dallas for game
No,
3.
he's already there for game 3.
Probably,
that was
yeah.
actually him flying, getting in the car, going to the airport to fly to Dallas to be there for the next game 3.
What are you changing if you're Dallas? Because clearly you have to change something.
I think for starters, I think I'm going to just start small. And this is going to be kind of a broken record, but your best chance right now is spreading the floor, playing 5 out. Dwight Powell's not giving you as much as you need. I know it's him rolling to the rim and you giving Luka that lob.
Aiden's going to kill them.
Yeah, he's going to kill them already with Powell. Like, it's not like Powell's doing a great job stopping that. Right. So okay, at least I can get 3s up, let me try to find a way to go at Ayton in that sense, spread him out and see if that can open up more opportunity. Listen, they're no good answers. They're screwed.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they have to do something. Like, they have to do something. And maybe they just hope that Phoenix doesn't make shots.
I mean, yes. Pray. Every time he shoots, don't contest. Just pray. Just sit there.
Because it's not that they can do the same things that Boston did to Milwaukee, but you look at that game 2, and Milwaukee shot 18 threes. Milwaukee never shoot. Like, Milwaukee hasn't shot 18 threes since it was Lee Mayberry and Todd Day in the backcourt. That's the last time they took only 18 threes in a game. That's just not their style of ball. And so, I know that they emphasize the paint and everything, but there's got to be a way where if you're Dallas, maybe you just overrun everything on the perimeter. And if you give up 2s, you give up 2s, but at least you're not giving up 3 straight 3s to Devin Booker.
The only problem with that, though, too, is when they're going to run that out on the perimeter, that's where they're going to get killed by Ayton, because ain't nobody grabbing the rebounds from there, right? That's right. That's where Ayton's just going to get it, put back, and not a dunk, a little jump hook, because that's what he does.
That's what I didn't fully buy Dallas's great improvement defensively. Oh, hey, Tom.
Nice to see you, buddy. Welcome to our show.
I want to see if this works for the analytics. Tom, welcome back to the show. This is the Postgame show on Le Batard. I'm curious. I didn't totally buy Dallas's improvement defensively, even though they were obviously better this year, because a lot of it just seemed to be rebounding. They went from a mediocre defensive rebounding team to an elite defensive rebounding team, and that doesn't really work here against the Suns because of Ayton.
Yeah, and because if you're not getting those stops, you're not getting those defensive rebounds, because the ball's going into the hoop if you can't stop Chris Paul and Devin Booker from getting to their spots, right?
And now hold on. You can't rebound if it goes in the hoop, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's Naismith, right? That's right. One of the rules is okay.
Yeah. And then you jump it up again.
Well, who knows if it's Tony Brothers officiating? Maybe that
was the 20s. So no, you don't remember, but they used to jump it up after every basket. A horrible product.
How annoying!
You know what? I think it's time. Fellas. Danny, why don't we bring up a certain tweet from tonight?
Oh boy,
I think it's time to bring this up, Danny, from Bob Ryan. I completely understand younger basketball fans embracing the 3. It's all they know. What they don't know is how much better the game was without it.
Go watch a 90s basketball game that doesn't involve Michael Jordan. It was garbage, okay? And I grew up in the 80s and 90s. That's what made me fall in love with basketball. And go watch Clyde Drexler operate in the mid-range. It's not that fun unless he's dunking. It's just really not. Also, when is Bob Ryan going to recognize that Bob Cousy was 10-17 in the playoffs before Bill Russell joined the team, couldn't get past the Syracuse Nationals? Red Kerr was waxing him every single postseason, and then Bill Russell comes to the team, and all of a sudden, Bob Cousy, he's the best point guard. He's revolutionizing the game. No, Bill Russell did that. When are we going to recognize that, Boston?
Play the hits.
10-17. 10-17. That's not good.
My favorite stuff, Zach. My favorite stuff of Bob Ryan's complaints about the current game is these games are in the 130s. I pulled up a random final series, just 1985.
Mm-hmm.
Lakers beat the Boston Celtics 4-2, but just by coincidence, it happens to be those two teams. Boston won game 1, 148-114. Yeah. Come on, man. What are we complaining about? One game was 136-111. 120, 111
with no threes.
With no threes. Come on, man. What are we doing here? Why are we complaining about it? We want to get back to 90 to 80.
Yeah. He pointed out, like, someone was like, well, that's because they had like played 150 possessions a game because they're just running up and down, missing, and then rebound, go up and down the floor, miss again. And it was just ugly basketball. And he's like, yeah, well, then explain the 72 Lakers. They averaged 120 points a game. And I'm like, yeah, they had 120 possessions a game. And by the way, they had Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West. Okay. Like,
not bad guys.
And Elgin Baylor for part of the year, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Throw him in there too.
It's pretty good.
It's just like, yeah, that's going to be great offense when you have Wilt, who nobody knew what to do with, and Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. So yeah, it's just,
I do want to see hand checking back. I would like the game with a little bit of hand checking. Just a sprinkling of it, just
the
like
fouls
salt
tonight were so annoying. Annoying.
Oh, we were railing about the reviews when you decided to go get a drink or whatever you did.
I don't know if it was me that cut off the Wi-Fi, guys.
Maybe
Did
this
you
coming
notice
Wednesday
what we were
on
talking
Basketball
about
Illuminati. Basketball Illuminati, Basketball Illuminati, Basketball Illuminati.
Say it 3 times. Keep your third eye open. Hey, Mo, how many eyes are there in Illuminati?
I believe there's 3.
That's right. So you guys were ragging on the ragging on the whole review. Yeah, you're still counting those, Zach?
There are 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're ragging on the reviews.
The reviews, I thought the Ayton flagrant foul was horrible. I thought it was a horrible basketball call. Like, I don't even know that it should have been a regular foul. Like, he's making a basketball play with the ball, and his elbow happens to make contact with Dwight Powell, who goes into his space, and it's a bad call.
We're just getting out of hand with it. We're just getting out of hand with this stuff. Like, this is really bad. And it's hurting the game. It's hurting the product. We don't need this. We shouldn't know the names of the rereferees. Like, we shouldn't be at the point where we're like, oh, here's another Scott Foster game.
I don't know, man.
I
miss Joey Crawford. I miss Joey Crawford so much.
Well,
hey, Shiggles has joined the show. Hey. Sheets and Giggles is in the chat. What's happening?
Sheets and Giggles. There we go.
There it is.
Let's go.
I have some lavender eucalyptus sheets from Sheets and Giggles. Fantastic.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Really?
Not even a live read.
I got to get on the Sheets and Giggles train.
Eucalyptus sheets are the way to go.
There we go. Okay. We'll see. Got to find out what my dog's gonna like.
Yeah.
Oh man, should we talk about the other game that was pretty? No. Okay, good.
Oh,
right?
Cody and Whitty, they did a post-game show for the Heat game. We can touch on it, just the fact that I don't know what to make of James Harden right now. If this is just fatigue after a long year, he's thrown in the towel when he knows that Joel Embiid's not playing. It's not worth it. But he's not himself. He's not. This James Harden is not worth the max. He's not.
No, not even close. Like, what do you? It's going to be a disaster if they give it to him.
16 assists. You can probably talk yourself into that. He's been a great distributor, but he doesn't have the legs to get you 30 a night anymore. He barely can get. I think he had 14 shots tonight without Embiid. That should be 30. It should be 30.
And 7 free throws. 7 free throw attempts.
It's just not. It's not. It's over for him. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he's done. He's on the downhill of his career. They're going to give him this massive contract, even if it's not the $227 million contract or extension. They're going to give him something around like $150 million, I imagine. It's still going to be a useless contract for them. It's going to be a dude sitting there and eating into their cap, and they're not going to go anywhere with this. Like, listen, I was all for, like, okay, hold on to Ben Simmons, make the right trade. This wasn't the right trade. James Harden was the wrong guy to pair with Joel Embiid because this is over. His time is up.
I was kind of hoping that this was just him mailing it in with the Brooklyn Nets. And last year, when he was playing on one leg, averaging and putting up better numbers than he is now, and we were chalking it up last year, like, hey, he's dealing with a torn hamstring. Like, he's just giving everything he has, which is like 20%. This version of James Harden's worse than that one. So what's the excuse now?
No, it's just years of not taking care of his body. Right? Like, people are saying, oh, you should do the vegan Chris Paul stuff or whatever. Or, Chris Paul spends a ton of money to get right? LeBron James, same stuff. We hear all the stories all the times. James Harden
Well,
spends a ton of money partying.
That money.
He
parties. Give him that money.
He's going to give him that money, and he's going to go partying with it. That's it. He's not going to go reinvest it into his body. That's the thing.
I mean, it's like my grandma always said: you make your bed, you got to shit in it. Daryl Morey's made his bed, now he's got to shit in it. Like this is just what.
That's a giggles.
I might have a different. I might have a little off there. I don't fully remember, but like they just.
But it helps to have a lavender scented.
Oh my god!
If you do end up.
Yeah, it's gonna
giggling
really bring it on. Well, I mean, you shit without giggling. I don't. But no, like the trade would have been fine if they didn't include like Seth Curry, right? Then you can at least justify it more. They have more shooters. They have more depth. They have no depth. They are 4 deep right now. 4. Like no one else. Like they don't have a 5-man unit you can put out there. No offense to John Hollinger. Like Paul Reed isn't good enough. He's not like he's giving up 40 pounds to Bam Adebayo. Like there's nothing they can put out there that can run with a Heat team that is 9 deep without Kyle Lowry. They're 9 deep without Lowry. Like there's just it's a numbers game at this point.
Yeah, it's you're 100% right, and there's no way they're going to win this series without a healthy Joel Embiid. Like we knew going into this. It's an uphill battle, but that's why Doc's got to just get creative, and I know this sounds stupid because it's the same answer I said for Dallas, but they've done it. They've gone small a couple of times, right? The time they had to run in game 1, it was when they went small. Doc didn't go back to it until they were down 19 and he gave it 2 minutes. Then in this game, end of the first half, he goes small again. This time, instead of Danny Green, he goes with Matisse Thybulle. And they go on a little bit of a run. That team, that run in 4 minutes had a net rating of 73. That was the best grouping they had. And Doc just doesn't go to it. But
you can't extrapolate that over a 48-minute game, though.
Wait. I'm just wondering, Mo, how small does the sample size have to be for you not to use net rating there? You said 4 minute. 4 minute net rating.
Listen. No, I'm trying. Listen, he fired me. Okay, he fired me. It could have been 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Tom, and I would have gone to it. He chose DeAndre over me. Damn it. Yeah. You understand? I will not let this go.
You guys talk about Rudy Gobert's hair?
No, not yet.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah.
Why is there always something with this dude? He can't help himself, right?
Can't get out of his own way.
Can't.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
That somehow the analytics community, no offense, Tom, is going to blame his hair on Donovan Mitchell. Like that's what's going to happen, or it's going to be Quinn Snyder's fault that he has green hair now.
Yeah,
they held it down.
I'm so done with I was done with the Brooklyn Nets like in January, and the Utah Jazz stuff. I am so tired of it. It's so annoying. Just that couple that that you're like, this isn't going to work.
You guys,
everyone knows it's not going to work.
Move out.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Break up. It sucks for everyone. Everyone's not happy. Just do it already.
Why are you guys talking to me why did you guys both look at me when you were saying that?
Just, Mo, we care.
Do you, Zach? Do you? Maybe Tom, I don't think.
Called a deflection, Mo. Look it up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Rudy Gobert, Dallas. I don't know if I love that fit with Luka because I think they need more of a. I know it's Kawhi, but I feel like they need a more perimeter defender than they need, like a switchable guy who can just guard 1 through 4, 1 through 5. Obviously, you'd love to have Kawhi Leonard next to Luka Doncic, but that trade we talked about it earlier, Rudy Gobert on Dallas next to Luka. How do you feel about that, Mo?
I'm not really that into it. I feel like there's going to be some sort of issues when Luka takes a couple of shots and Rudy's going to start to get upset about it and going like, I was open on the lobs. It's kind of what he does, right? And in all of those things. But I'm more aligned with you though, Tom. I think perimeter defense matters more right now than paint protection. It's what we're seeing with these teams that are really making the big difference, right? Look at what we're seeing with the Phoenix Suns. It's all perimeters. It's the Mikal Bridges. It's having Crowder. It's having Cam Johnson. All of those guys that can be able to switch on to guards and be able to switch on to small forwards, even the bigs at times. Then you have Boston Celtics and you see all those wings and they're able to switch constantly. I think wing defenses really needs to be the priority. I think a lot of teams need to start loading up and start trying to find these wing defenders, be more focused on that instead of paying all of this money that you're going to be trying to trade for in Rudy Gobert with this massive contract. I think you could find a guy a little bit cheaper than Gobert and get, maybe about 70% of what he does.
I so badly want Michael Jordan to trade for Rudy Gobert and then hire Mike D'Antoni to be the coach.
Yes,
that would be the most, it could only be a more Michael Jordan thing if he was wearing jeans that had white piping all over them. Like, that's the only way that this could be a more Michael Jordan thing.
Let's go.
I mean, they do have a thing for French guys like Tony Parker,
Nicolas Batum,
Boris
Diaw.
Diaw
for a little while.
Boris Diaw, yeah.
Oh yeah. Bobcats days, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was a highway robbery when the Spurs guy like Boris right there. It was like, oh my god,
incredible.
The espresso machine came with him, right? Or was that something he had to get in San Antonio?
100%. I mean,
that's always with him.
I think the Utah Jazz are going to end up trading Rudy just because I think Donovan Mitchell is more marketable, and you bring in D Wade into your ownership, and I think you can do a lot more with D Wade partnering with Donovan Mitchell than Rudy Gobert, right?
I'm so confused by Dwayne Wade showing up to the game tonight and the Heat just like tweeting about. I'm like, that's an owner of a different team. Like, I get it, it's D Wade and Wade County.
Wade County, bro. It's Wade County.
He's scouting. He's scouting.
Tampering. Like, that's tampering on some level. It's tampering.
Jazz fans were so upset about the Knicks doing it to them. It's
God. You know what's funny though, about the whole like Rudy or Donovan Mitchell thing is the next year's Salt Lake City All-Star Weekend, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Do you want Rudy Gobert to be the mayor of Salt Lake City for All-Star Weekend, or would you rather have Donovan Mitchell? Like, I get all the problems with Donovan Mitchell, but players like it. Like, players don't like Rudy Gobert.
Right.
They just don't. Like, call it xenophobia, call it whatever you want, but they don't like him. Like, they don't respect him in a way that his resume and his accomplishments should like kind of bring out. Like Dorian Finney-Smith is talking shit about him constantly when they match up. Like, they're like Dorian Finney-Smith.
DFS.
Anthony Edwards said he was more afraid of Kristaps Porzingis at the rim than he was Rudy Gobert.
Yeah. Like, they just don't. And so if you are going to make that decision, like, that's absolutely going to factor into it. If you're Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge and the rest of the front office, like, okay, we have All-Star Weekend coming up. We kind of need Donovan Mitchell to be here, be happy. And it's not like he's going to recruit and now all of a sudden Kevin Durant's going to want to be a Jasmine and all this stuff. Like, that's not going to happen. But you can't have where Rudy's like, all right, guys, let me show you the city. And everyone's like, good.
Well, it's kind of the reason why the Charlotte Hornets didn't trade Kemba Walker when they could have at the deadline that year when they were hosting the All-Star game, when his value was never higher than it was then. If they didn't host the All-Star game in Charlotte, I fully believe that Kemba Walker was gone at the trade deadline.
Yes,
but they had to have a host for the trade for the All-Star. They had to have his name everywhere. And what better host? Everyone loves Kemba. Everyone loves Kemba except for Tom Thibodeau. And you have him as the host of that city for All-Star Weekend. I'd rather have Rudy Gobert not there.
Prediction.
If I'm the Utah Jazz.
Prediction.
Yes.
A player misses that All-Star game who has been selected for it the day of the All-Star game because they're stuck in Las Vegas, which is a 5.5 hour car ride away. Like, what is it? Like maybe an hour plane ride. They're going to spend the nights in Las Vegas. They're not staying in Salt Lake City or Park City during All-Star Weekend. They're going to go and then they're going to travel back. It's going to be the most hungover, lethargic All-Star game ever, to where we're now going to be like, should every quarter have the Elam ending? Like, they're going to try to revamp this thing strictly because that travel between Vegas and Salt Lake City is going to be there the whole weekend.
You're predicting James Harden's making the All-Star team next year because that's what it's going to be.
Making the All-Star team? Yes. The game?
No, that's exactly what it is.
I don't know about that. I think we might have a late scratch all of a sudden.
Anybody seen James? Anybody got eyes on James?
That was one of my favorite things of my NBA, covering the NBA in my career, is going to a bachelor party in Vegas, like in the middle of the season for like one night. Flew in and was coming back in the middle of the season to cover like the Magic game in Miami or something like that. And as I'm sitting there at the terminal in Las Vegas at the airport waiting for my flight, I see J.R. Smith walk down.
Yeah. Earl.
And he sits in front of me. And I'm like, Wait a minute. I'm reading tweets right now that J.R. Smith has been signed by the New York Knicks and is making his debut tomorrow. And J.R. Smith was in Vegas the night before, and he dropped like 24 in Madison Square Garden for his debut with the Knicks.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Man's got to have a routine, you know?
It's amazing.
No, I think
creatures of habit.
People just don't understand. Like, when these guys are coming into LA, they're already planning trips to Vegas. Like, they're already going like 3 days off in LA. It happens at least for a couple of teams each year. I guarantee you half that team's in Vegas during those off days. Don't try to have a practice if you're a coach at that point.
Shouts to Warren Legary for running Summer League in Vegas and making it happen.
The best.
Really needed.
The absolute best.
Before we get out of here, Dillon Brooks suspended or not for Game 3?
Should be.
He should be, but I think Memphis is the one that's pushing for that.
I know. That was my next question, Mel. You stole it. Who's more upset about that?
Yeah,
Memphis is going for the season. Memphis is saying,
Memphis
"Yo,
like, look, you gotta do what you gotta do. We can't have this kind of reckless behavior going on." Like
they're sending practice footage. They're sending whatever they got. Like, look, man, like he puts the towels in the wrong bin. Like all of this.
I love Taylor Jenkins saying the other day that maybe this was yesterday that he trusts the refs' decisions on these things, on like ejections and stuff like that. You just called them arrogant last week.
I think he got fined for that, right?
He did get fined.
Yeah,
There's been more fines in this playoffs than ever.
But if
Taylor Jenkins, trust them.
You look at the precedent.
One of them.
If you look at the precedent, Jokic got suspended a game for Markieff Morris. Grayson Allen got suspended, I think, a game for Alex Caruso.
He did. Yep.
Same thing. Like I would be shocked if he's there for Game 3.
And it was light suspension for Grayson Allen for what he did to Caruso too.
Oh, for sure.
You know, but precedent's been set. At least
remember that when Bucks put out a statement saying they defend Grayson Allen on that. How weird was that? That's
why, guys. Why? You remember me was talking about like the devastation that was Milwaukee when Dante DiVincenzo was traded, like just from a signage standpoint around the city.
Yeah. I mean, how many times can they get Ersan Ilyasova? Just bringing him back, you know?
just break glass in case of Ersan Ilyasova.
Is he not working for the organization? Is this not why isn't he just have some sort of ambassadorship?
I'm just expecting to see him at the end of the bench every game.
Yeah. I think Dillon Brooks is going to be suspended. And even in my head, I think there's better chance that he gets suspended for multiple games than he did 0 games.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. How many games do you think?
I don't think he's going to be suspended multiple games, but I think there's 100% that he is going to get suspended. Sheets and Giggles is headed to bed. Thank you for coming by. Shiggles, your new mattress.
Shiggles mattress.
What?
Wow.
What?
Are they coming for Casper? Are they coming for the whole corner?
I gotta send a DM right now. I gotta
make a few calls.
See what I got.
Mo DeKeel, follow him at Mo DeKeel, DAKHIL_NBA on Twitter, and go read his stuff at BR. There's an awesome article on Doc Rivers where there's some history there at BR this week. Go read it. Mo DeKeel, thank you for joining us. And Zach Harper from Cinephobe, from at The Athletic, from SiriusXM NBA Radio, and Count the Dings. Zach, always a pleasure. And we did it without Amin. I am so thankful that he did not show up tonight. You know?
Kind of better and more focused.
A little bit more
Tom left for like 35 minutes, but other than that, it was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't leave. I was forced out by powers that be. Okay?
Should we tell him, Zach, that
Scott
we're the ones?
Scott Foster.
Jack Harlow. Why are we doing this?
Sorry, guys. I coughed while I was saying Scott Foster.
I'm going to have nightmares just of that. Why do you keep bringing it up?
Why is he dapping people up with the luggage going through a hotel?
Why?
Why are there 2 referees in the back of the car bopping their heads? I don't understand. Okay. We're going to be right under an hour. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Go check out Cinephobe this week, and also Basketball Illuminati and the Underdogs podcast coming out on Friday. Okay.